Does anybody else remember that Assassin's Creed movie? Or was that a dream I had? I'm pretty sure there's an Assassin's Creed movie. It came out of nowhere, nobody said a word about it, and then it disappeared. So I'm here today to dig it out of its grave and examine it for all of you, if any of you care. More recently, I've been focusing on these live-action video game adaptation movies, and as I was doing research, I came across this movie, and I was like, wait a minute, there's an Assassin's Creed movie. What? Did someone cross over from an alternate dimension and then plop this movie into my brain? Because it seems like I'm the only person that knows that this movie exists, which is weird because it stars Michael Fassbender, and he's a pretty big actor. I didn't see any trailers for this movie. All of a sudden, it was out, and then it was gone. It was released in 2016, and it was directed by Justin Kurzel. I'd like to take a moment to thank today's sponsor. No, it's not a VPN. It's not headphones. It's a mobile game. You might be able to guess which one. Yeah, it's your boy, Raid Shadow Legends. Let's go. The mobile game RPG, with hundreds of champions to collect, a super in-depth RPG battle system, amazing graphics, intense PvE boss fights, and today we're celebrating Raid's 4th anniversary. And to celebrate this anniversary, Raid has asked me to choose 4 champions that I'd like to invite to a dinner party. Firstly, I would choose Dracomorph, because we have to have something to eat, right? Then I would choose Bigun, because he has a pretty funny name. I would choose Bad El Khazar, because he's, well, cool. One of the coolest looking champions in the game, in my opinion. Last but not least, Elhain. She might be kind of basic because she's one of the first champions you can get, but you and I both know why I'm inviting her. And since it's Raid's birthday celebration, the gifts keep coming. All new and existing players can get a bunch of free birthday gifts. Once you're in-game, after clicking on the links, just enter promo code 4YearsRaid to get your hands on 4 legendary skill tomes, plus other useful stuff. Use my link in the description or scan the QR code to get insane bonuses. You'll get an epic champion named Kellen the Shrike, and other useful things. Thank you so much to Raid for sponsoring this video, I really appreciate it. Now back to the review. The movie stars Michael Fassbender, Marion Cotillard, Jeremy Irons, Brendan Gleeson, and Charlotte Rampling. Aside from Abstergo CEO Alan Rickon, who appeared briefly in the first Assassin's Creed game, the film features all new characters, designed and created from an original story. And I think this was probably a good call, because let's be honest, if you guys have played an Assassin's Creed game, could you tell anybody what happens in the story? Probably not. I know I couldn't. I've put many hours into many of these games, and I couldn't tell you anything about the plot of any of them. Aside from the basic stuff, you know? It's about an assassin guy from a specific period in time. He wears a hood, he has hidden blades, he's part of this brotherhood called the Assassin's Creed, and then there's the person who's like piloting this memory. They're from the future, and they use something called the Animus, which like projects themselves onto this assassin. And as far as the finer details of all the stories, I couldn't tell you anything. And I'd be very surprised if you could, unless you're a super invested Assassin's Creed fan. I know the first few games were a lot more influential, especially for the time. Playing an old school assassin in these games felt really cool back then. Hopping from rooftop to rooftop, bouncing on your foes with these hidden blades, and disappearing into the daytime. I gotta admit, I have some pretty fond memories playing these games, but their story has never been their strong suit. In the beginning of the movie, there's a text scroll giving us some information about the movie before it starts. It reads,
"For centuries, the Order of the Knights Templar have searched for the mythical Apple of Eden."
Wow, maybe it's time to give up then. It's been quite a while. Maybe we should call it quits. Centuries, you say, and you still haven't found it. Personally, if I lose my phone and I can't find it within 10 minutes, then it's gone. Time to get a new one.
They believe it contains not only the seeds of man's first disobedience, but the key to free will itself.
Whatever that means.
If they find the relic and decode its secrets, they will have the power to control all freedom of thought.
Wow, that sounds great. A world of zombies at your fingertips. What a fun world that would be.
Only the Brotherhood, called the Assassins, stand in their way.
We're then brought to Andalusia. Andalusia? I don't know how to say that. 1492. We get our first glimpse into the inner workings of the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Michael Fassbender is here. He's an assassin, and he's swearing an oath to stop the Templars from finding this Apple of Eden thing. I don't know why he has to swear an oath to stop them from finding this thing, since they're having so much trouble finding it on their own. Obviously, the assassins are the reason they can't find it, right? But why haven't they given up yet? They chop off the assassin's ring finger, and he takes it like a champ.
Now stand aside, worthy adversary.
'Tis but a scratch.
This assassin's name is Aguilar, and he's being fitted for his hidden blade. His ring finger on his right hand is removed, which is weird because in the games, the hidden blade was designed for the left hand so that the assassin's sword hand remains strong. I'm guessing Aguilar is left-handed. A cheesy song starts to play as a hawk flies around. We're brought to the future, 1986 to be exact. A kid fails to make a jump from a building on his bike. He rides home and finds his mom dead, and his dad with an assassin knife standing over her. Unknown men in trucks, armed with guns, show up at their house. This kid is obviously Michael Fassbender when he was young. The kid runs away, then 30 years pass. Fassbender, who plays a guy named Cal Lynch, is sat in a prison cell. He's got some disturbing drawings on his wall. He's then taken from his cell and strapped to a death chamber gurney. He's then given a lethal injection. His life flashes before his eyes, then he strangely awakens next to a woman named Dr. Sophia Ricken. She tells him that he was pronounced dead, so to the rest of the world, he's a dead man. I guess they just revived him before he was dead, and then brought him here. He tries to stumble away and finds that he's in a large facility that's very high off the ground. He's then sedated and placed into a large mechanical arm. They give him assassin gauntlets for some reason, something that they never had to do in the games, and then they insert a matrix thing into his head. He's lifted into the air and then brought back in time into someone else's body. So yeah, I guess this is the Animus. It looks a lot different in the movie. In the games, it's just like a high-tech bed. People lay down in it, they plug themselves in, they go back in time and take control of an assassin. But in this movie, the Animus is an arm thing that they latch onto, and the person hooked up to the Animus literally acts out the same movements of the assassin. They're trying to turn the Animus into some highly advanced VR thing? Sure. The fact that they gave him gauntlets is just silly as hell. Even if they're used to like connect the person to the assassin somehow, it's still really dumb. He shouldn't need a physical object like from that time period in order to, I don't know, sync up with the person from the past. The camera flies around awkwardly with an eagle as we're shown a battle from the past. Then these evil Templar guys start doing bad stuff. So the assassin drops from a building and does his assassin stuff with his assassin buddies. Aguilar just barely saves a child from a cart before they pull him from the Animus. It's revealed that Jeremy Irons and his daughter Sophia have been Templars all along. They're after the sacred fruit, the apple of Eden, to turn everybody into pacifist zombies. The socialist liberal agenda is underway, and it must be stopped.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
God damn, this movie is astoundingly boring. Sophia gives Cal a tour of the facility. He finds out that they had him on their radar from the day he was born, because he's a direct descendant of an assassin. He's got the assassin blood, so that makes him super capable. You gotta have that super assassin blood, or it just won't work as well. He's a descendant of the assassin's bloodline. Apparently they're all born with the predisposition for violence.
They're assassins, murderers like their ancestors.
Okay, sure. These scientists are hell-bent on ending violence as we know it. These scientists just want to make people into pacifist zombies. I guess that would fix everything. Some could argue that violence isn't the problem. It's the underlying issues that lead to that violence, like poverty, capitalism, greed, toxic masculinity, the education system, racism, sexism, the romanticizing of violence in the media. But sure, go off, sis. 40 minutes into this movie, and it's been 80% dude walks around facility and speaks to people, which is the exact opposite of the games. Ironically, a lot of people argue that the games would be significantly improved if the Animus was never even a thing, and the games focused entirely on the assassins and the stories within their world. Granted, a reason for that is probably because the sections in the past are much more fun than when you play a character from the future. In my opinion, I never liked those sections, and I thought they muddled the story. Obviously, they couldn't make an Assassin's Creed movie without the Animus plot thread, because it's such a significant part of the Assassin's Creed brand at this point. Even if it is decreasing in significance as the games go on, it still wouldn't be Assassin's Creed created without the Animus. So I get why they include it. But in this movie, they focus heavily on the guy in the future, much more so than they do the assassin from the past. And I think it should have been the opposite. There's a scene of Cal fighting a vision of Aguilar, and then some guards. He's then dragged away to be forced back into the Animus. He starts singing like a madman as he's attached to the Animus, or Armimus, right? Because it's an arm. How come all of the scenes from the past have a super ugly puke green color palette? Whoever was responsible for the editing and color grading really made it their mission to make this movie as ugly as possible. It feels like I'm in a Nurgle butthole, and I don't like feeling like I'm in a Nurgle butthole. Sorry about the random 40K reference. The assassins are about to be executed in front of a crowd when Aguilar performs some epic spins and frees himself. He fights off the executioners and frees his assassin friends. They bounce across rooftops to escape, just like in the games. It's epic. There are some fun gameplay parallels in this movie, which I definitely appreciated. And of course, they gotta do the eagle dive 10,000 feet down into a nothing because Cal desyncs during freefall and has a seizure. Good call, Justin. Good call. I always thought those eagle dives were dumb as hell. Oh, you don't get it. He's safe because he landed in hay. The hay saved him from a 10,000 foot drop. But there was hay there. He's fine. Interestingly enough, this film features the highest free fall performed by a stuntman in almost 35 years. The stuntman, named Damian Walters, performed a free fall from the height of 125 feet, or 38 meters, which lasted almost 3 seconds with a 61 mile per hour impact speed. Holy shit. We need to pay stuntman more. Let's just take a second to appreciate all the stuntmen out there that risk their lives every single day to bring us entertainment. Back to the review. Dr. Rickon shows Cal the blade that his father used to kill his mother. He places it on a table for Cal to use. Everybody leaves the room aside from Cal's father, and they have a little chat. His father is played by Brendan Gleeson. He was amazing in that movie, The Banshees of Inisherin, but most people would probably recognize him as the guy who played Mad-Eye Moody in Harry Potter. He tells Cal that his mother died to protect the apple's secrets. So she knew where the apple was, and he didn't? Okay. Cal hates his father and the Creed because he really misses his mommy, so he decides to help the scientists find the apple, even though he was told that it has the power to take away everybody's free will. Wow, very smart. A security guard randomly tells Cal what he knows of the assassins. Very cool, dude. How the hell do you know this stuff, being a security guy and everything? And why are you telling him? Seems like a pretty random thing to put in this scene. Maybe this actor was begging for some lines, so they just had him say this. Cal gets hooked back up to the Armimus to find this apple. The assassins watch as the Templars remove this apple, which is really just a glass ball, out of a box. What's in the box?
What's in the box?
Who's in the box?
Oh, it's the apple of Eden, but it's not really an apple. It's this glass sphere. It looks pretty cool, but how would this remove people's free will exactly? I guess we'll find out. Or not. Spoiler alert, we don't find out. Obviously. Let me continue. The assassins drop down and attempt to kill the Templars and retrieve the apple. Some of the fighting here isn't terribly done, but it's far too dark in this scene. Aguilar's girlfriend is killed, but he's able to escape successfully by taking a leap of faith into some water from a height that would most certainly kill anybody. We're shown Aguilar some time later, giving the apple to Christopher Columbus, of all people. He's told to take the apple to his grave. You know how that's a phrase, right? Take this to your grave? It's not supposed to be taken literally, right? What it really means is, keep this a secret for the rest of your days. But in this movie, it's taken literally. The scientists literally take that to mean that the apple must be in Columbus's grave. For some dumb reason, these scientists decided to keep these old assassin weapons on display around this facility, when this facility is pretty much a big prison. And all of the people in this prison that are being tested on the Animus have been effectively trained as the world's best assassins. I can hardly see how this could ever go wrong. Obviously, the prisoners use these weapons against the guards later in the movie. The facility gets all foggy for some reason. You can't see anything. The scene looks goofy as hell. Where'd all this steam come from? The people in this facility know that the scientists are after this apple, and they don't want them to get it. Why would these scientists tell all of these people what this apple of Eden does? You put all these people in a facility. You tell them all that you're trying to find this weird object that makes it so you can control everybody's free will. And you're using them to find it. All the while training all of them to be highly effective assassins. Why would you not expect an uprising? Cal speaks to his mother via the Armimus and is now convinced that what the assassins are doing is just. How is his mother in the Animus? I mean, Armimus. Isn't it programmed to bring him back to a specific time period when she didn't exist? Some of the inmates find him there, and I guess they're gonna fight together now. They make up extremely fast. They were enemies like 10 minutes ago. But sure, let's fight together. Let's kill these guards, dude.
Son of a bitch.
In this Animus room, there's a bunch of weapons conveniently laid out for them to fight the guards. Sophia, her father, Dr. Rickon, and their bodyguard fly away in a helicopter. We next see Dr. Rickon in a giant cathedral. He's handed a box with the Apple of Eden inside of it. They found it, I guess. There it is. I guess it was inside Columbus's tomb. That was convenient for them. I can't wait to see how they use this apple. I'm sure it won't be dumb as hell. Dr. Rickon makes his speech in front of all the other Templars. The assassins are closing in. Earlier, Dr. Rickon told his bodyguard to purge the facility, which I guess meant relying on the guards there to kill all of the inmates, when all of the inmates are highly trained assassins. They've all been trained to be effective killers, and you're just like, hey, our staff will figure it out. They'll kill all these assassins, no problem, dude. Dr. Rickon doesn't take 2 seconds to check what happened at the facility after he left. He just goes on with his life and hopes for the best. Very smart. Dr. Rickon opens the Apple of Eden. It glows from within. Before the movie can get even dumber, he's then promptly assassinated. It then shows him holding a regular apple. Cal swapped it out with a regular apple after killing him, I guess. Sophia tells her dead father that she'll retrieve the artifact for the elders, and the movie ends. Dun dun dun! You thought Sophia was a good girl? No, she's a bad girl, actually. You shouldn't have killed her dad. That was a bad thing to do. She's gonna break bad. To be honest, I don't even know if it's possible to make a good Assassin's Creed movie. So my expectations before watching this were extremely low. After watching it, it's strangely simultaneously worse and better than I expected. The acting was pretty decent throughout the movie, the action wasn't half bad, and it's made even more impressive that Michael Fassbender did 95% of his fights in the film himself. The plot was dumb as hell, and I hated the way this movie looked. But the costumes looked great. The assassin costumes took 2 to 3 months to make and were all handcrafted. There are 8 versions of each costume, with an entire costume team devoted to each of the assassins. Funny enough, Michael Fassbender didn't even know the Assassin's Creed games existed before making this movie. How is that possible? Are you telling me he didn't once see one of these terrible commercials for the games? And there's like 1,000 of these games, and they're very popular. I'm guessing Michael Fassbender isn't much of a gamer. Apparently he was attracted to the project because he wanted to do a fantasy film that was rooted in science, and also thought the idea of Templars versus assassins was intriguing. Fassbender took a lot of creative control when it came to making this movie. He took part in the editing process. In a lot of ways, this is a Michael Fassbender movie. I don't know, I would give this one like a 4 out of 10 or something, maybe a 5 if I'm in a good mood. Thank you so much for watching, I appreciate it. If you're one of the 12 people that saw this movie, let me know what you thought of it in the comment section down below. Thank you so much to all my patrons that make videos like this possible, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!